Good evening, everybody.
Yep, back again.
It does feel weird. Bobby Lee and I, y'all may notice, if you're watching this on YouTube, you might notice we look a little different. And we don't have on our headphones. They're actually right here on the table. We said, man, we're going to try it without our headphones on.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, do we have to wear them? I mean, like, I don't know. We may find out why we should be wearing them.
Yeah, the audio, like, it might be so bad. If y'all are listening, it sounds like we're just steadily getting further and further away from the mic, then that'll explain it. How's the new tractor?
Man, well, for the last week, it hadn't done nothing.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
it's
been
quit raining.
Wet,
but yeah, I'm trying to think. I cut a bunch of hay with it. I actually, I text Mr. Tim, who had a question for us last week. One of my landowners that I cut hay on. I texted him today and said, looking like I'll be cutting his hay next week. It looks like we're finally got a break in the weather. It has rained. I mean, I quit even, like, I check my gauge every day and dump it, but like it doesn't even make sense to keep up with it because it's just a lot.
It is. It has been raining like
when it's
crazy.
raining a bunch, like I don't, really pay that close of attention to every 1/10 of an inch kind of thing for obvious reasons.
I check that Field View app that I got.
Yeah.
I just look at that. We did move everything out of the old shed over here because, it's about to fall down. Have you seen
the old tractor shed?
Yeah, have you seen how it's leaned so bad?
Well, I hadn't been right out there, but yeah, one of the storms finally did it in.
I guess the last, like the 80-something mile an hour winds, it just leaned it all over, and it's in bad shape already. It's like the first time that cattle trailer's ever gotten rained on. Man, it looks like a brand new trailer.
We pulled
it out. Yeah, it had so much dust on it. It looks pretty good. Like it needs a paint job.
I tell you what, mine got rained on yesterday because I hauled 2 bulls to the sale barn.
Well, I saw a truck headed like towards Ripley today with a load of some calves. Wonder what they'd be.
They must have been going to somebody's place because I don't even know going that direction what sale barn they'd even be headed to.
They got to be back. Somebody's got to be backgrounding because they were small.
There's a couple of guys up there that run a bunch of calves. I hauled just 2 coal bulls. One of mine that had a penis problem.
Yeah.
Finally, him and actually another one that had a penis problem.
The micro penis. You've been experimenting.
Yeah, my micro penis. Yeah, my micro penis bull, I should say. Yeah, we hauled them. Well, I knew I got up. I was torn. I didn't know what to do. Because it was Wednesday, it was my day off. I was like, well, clearly I ain't going to cut no hay. I was like, I need to spread some fertilizer, but it was already probably a little too wet, and the rain was like going to be here like mid-morning. So like, I'm not going to have time to go get a buggy, get it loaded, get fertilizer spread before it starts raining. I didn't really want to be driving through the storms, but I'm like, all right, I'm going due east from here, so I'll be able to stay in front of the storms going.
Yeah.
Now, I knew good and well we would come back through them, and we did. We were coming back. We were about Whiteville, buddy. They had which I don't know. It may have been flash flooding everywhere, but it was flash flooding, which you kind of get on some back roads.
Drive through some water.
We drove through some water in 3 or 4 spots. I mean, ditches were full everywhere. But
when was that? Wednesday.
Yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Which I guess obviously, yeah.
Was that?
People will be listening to this. It'll be Friday.
Yeah.
The earliest, but
man, I've been. It's
my trailer got rained on pretty good.
Clean it up pretty good.
We were joking. My son, because my buddy Nick went with us.
Yeah.
And because one of the bulls is actually his. And he said, Willis told him, he's like, now all that doo-doo is not cow manure or whatever, because the chickens like to get on the cattle trailer. Yeah. And it did wash all the chicken shit off because we were coming through, but of course the cow manure is a little heavier.
Yeah, some of it's like pasted on there.
Yeah, I need to get the pressure washer out now that I should be done hauling cattle for a while anyway. But yeah, we trailer got washed whether I meant for it to or not.
Well, that's how this one out here did. Which Dad actually got the roof out of the feed lot too. I hauled his Traco here the other day. I moved his Traco and the Dozer out here, and he moved it. Looks a lot different.
That was for those y'all. The roof off of their working facility. It's covered, but the roof got lifted off the kind of catch pins and sweep tub, and and put out on their
On
own
the feedlot.
feedlot. And so they couldn't even, which I was just telling Dad, I was like, y'all need to get some of them calves up and sell some. He's like, well, we can't right now. Like literally our catch pen has the roof from the other pen laying in it. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Well, I told
So he got
Dad.
it out of there using track hoe.
Yeah, and they're going to, I guess, redo all that, which all the posts were rotten on the back side of it. But they.
Oh, yeah, on that fence?
Yeah.
Well, that's last fall when we, actually, I filmed some of that on my YouTube.
That was when you got clobbered.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was
Yeah,
when we
the bull-
missed.
Yeah,
You would be on Joe Rogan by now if that had been videoed.
that would have been a golden video.
You might would have made it on Ridiculousness or something.
That bull, yeah, he sent me. I don't know how close I was to hitting.
You got pretty
would've
dang
been the
close.
roof.
Yeah, you got pretty dang close.
But hey, now if that happens, I don't have to worry about hitting the roof.
Yeah, no, it'd be wide open.
Hit the ceiling, yeah.
And your impact would be even softer now because there's so much grass and stuff that's grown in there. It's insane.
See, I need to walk out there and look.
Oh, it is a jungle. I would hate to work a cow in there right now.
See, that's amazing. I guess there's just a seed bank in there.
Yeah, it's like 5 foot tall.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks.
Need to let them in there, let them eat it down and tromp it down.
Yeah, it looks
What
terrible.
kind of grass is it? Just
All kinds of weeds. I think there's some big old pigweeds in there, ragweed,
oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
marijuana. A lot of stuff.
Hey.
Speaking of marijuana, and I guess I don't know what you'd consider that, because alcohol, would that be that's not paraphernalia, just a stimulant.
Well, I mean, you've got paraphernalia, but then you've got the actual drug itself.
Yeah. So is alcohol a drug
Well,
or is it a stimulant? I just thought it was
no, it's not a stimulant; it's a depressant.
That's right. That's right.
Which
That's
I
why we're
think-
sad all the time on here.
I think marijuana or THC would fall in that same category.
Yeah,
It's
they're a downer, not a upper.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that's a very adamant listener of the show, he said one thing we need to do is give a shout out to what we're drinking more often. Like let
Okay.
people know what kind of bourbon we're sipping on.
Yeah. Until we have an official bourbon of the show,
Yep.
which hey, we're open to that as well.
Yep.
I poured little Basil Hayden, the Subtle Smoke.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that one?
I've had the toast. That ain't the toasted one, is it?
Is
it called Subtle Smoke?
Yeah, it's Basil Hayden just like in the regular bottle, but then it's like the label's just a little different. It says Subtle Smoke. It's got
No,
like a
I hadn't tried that
smokiness to it. Actually, like I was telling you before we got started, I poured a little taller than I normally do because I was finishing off that bottle. So what you got?
I am sipping on some more Calumet Farms,
Okay.
but I wanted a lower proof one that I could enjoy sipping a little more. I guess I
Yeah.
wanted some more bourbon without just being just smashed. And this is a blend. It's a 15-year and an 8-year blend.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was not that expensive. I don't remember, 40 or 50 bucks.
Was it like 80 proof?
Yeah, 82 proof.
Was the bottle we had? Was it barrel proof or?
I don't remember. I think it was more closer to 100. Because, see, I got a lot of, like that Blue Note that we like a lot, it's like 90 to 100.
Yeah.
I got some in there that,
Yeah. Because is that what they call barrel proof, where every one of them?
I think it's like 100 and it's 100 and something, ain't it?
But is that one of those where every bottle's different?
Oh, yeah. It'll have it wrote on there.
Yeah.
It'll have it wrote on there.
They don't cut it to us.
No, because one of the Blue Notes that I got is 114 proof.
Yeah, that's pretty hot.
But I tell you what, the Kingpin, man, the George T Stag has 137 proof. That's the baddest bourbon that I still have some on the shelf in my house because you can't get it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know when I won't finish that until I somehow find another bottle.
Yeah. And is every year, like this year's might be a different proof than
Yes.
that one?
Yeah. And the bad thing was
Because they won't cut it, obviously.
No. Yeah.
It is what it is.
last year or the year before, the batch was bad.
Well, I remember, I don't know if we talked about it on air or not, but remember, yes, they just dumped it.
They dumped the whole batch. The guy, their little master distiller, tasted it. It wasn't up to spec, so they dumped the whole batch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man, I'd have liked to have been the judge of that for myself. And
Yeah.
because
Well,
I
you
asked,
think, and I guess you kind of respect it, but you're like, they could have batched it or bottled it as like, I don't know what they would call it, but like, when you can go buy
blemish.
Some blue jeans that are slightly irregular or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess that would have tarnished their name or whatever. It wouldn't have been worth it.
Well, and it is a 1 year, from my understanding, it's a one time a year release.
Yeah.
And like the bottle that I bought from our local store here of the George T Stag, they were like, I went back in there and I ask them all the time, I'm like, you got any more of that Stag? And he's like, man, that bottle you bought is literally the only bottle we've ever had. And
part of you wonders, and of course this is kind of the conspiracy theory, obviously that they dumped out that whole batch, or supposedly they did, but you could go down that hole too, but rabbit hole. But is that all to drive up the price or
it
the
could
demand
be
for the 2023 or the 2024 batch or whatever?
People will get really.
Which I don't know if they sell it all wholesale at the same price they normally would, but I know the retailers will sometimes jack it way up.
Well, they'll jack it up, and then the secondary market is just insane. Like
where do you buy it on the secondary market? Just like off of Facebook?
Yeah, I'm in some bourbon Facebook groups.
You can't sell it like on eBay, or anything.
On Facebook is a big one. I'm in some of the bourbon groups on there, which I don't sell it. And that was one of the deals whenever I bought those from our local guys. They were like, just don't do us dirty and sell this on the secondary. Because there are people, I've got some bourbon at my house. I got Old Forester Birthday. I bought a bottle of it, only one I'd ever seen. And I paid $300 for that bottle, and you could sell it online. There's guys online that will pay $2,500 for that bottle of whiskey.
Well, like, a lot of things like, we went to the Masters this year, and it's super hard to get tickets, and you just pay. Obviously you pay face value if you get drawn to in the lottery, but if they catch you selling them on the secondary,
they kill your family.
Yeah,
they cut your penis off and kill your whole family.
The cartel is basically, but yeah, you're like banned from ever, applying for tickets again or whatever, because they all have like a serial number on them, and like if they catch you selling them like that.
You know what that just made me think of? You listened to some Rodney Carrington, didn't you?
Oh yeah, back in the day. It's been a while. Which he's still on tour.
Is he?
I think I follow him on Instagram. I don't know that he does a whole lot, but I'm pretty sure like every now and then, I'll see where he's announced tour dates or something.
I just pictured if you got kicked out of the Masters and banned, his time when he's talking about getting banned from Chuck E. Cheese's, and he gets kicked out, and then somebody goes, "Don't you ever come back, you son of a bitch."
Don't you ever come back to Chuck E. Cheese.
And he goes, "Do you know how bad you got to F up to get kicked out of Chuck E. Cheese?"
Pretty damn bad.
Yeah.
But here's his tour. He's today's, as we sit here and record, is August the 10th. He'll be in Lake Charles, Louisiana this weekend.
Hey, well, we might go see him. We might make a road trip.
How close is he going to get to us? He'll be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, kind of on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
Here in a couple of weeks. Whoop.
I ain't listened to him in a long time.
I hadn't either. Yeah, no, he's still touring.
Well, I will let everybody listening down easy here. I have not contacted Chuck Grassley yet, but he's an old son of a gun, man. I didn't realize how old he was.
He's got to be in his 80s.
Yeah, like he might have a Mitch McConnell moment on us if we had him on.
Poor. We shouldn't. But we're equal opportunity. We're gonna make fun of
if Biden pulls
what are you, commander in chief will also
whatever he is. Yeah.
But he's not in command of his own underwear drawer. I'm pretty certain. He has somebody help him into his Depends every morning.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, let me read this here. First, you got to give a shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for the ratings and reviews. We are up to 110, so we got to have 90 more by September 30th if they want to see.
We'll see the ponytails.
Yeah. And I did have somebody ask me about the giveaway, how we're going to do that. What I've been thinking, because and actually it may be in that, or no, I don't think it was in, it is in this, I'll just read this because I don't want to ruin it because this was pretty hilarious. So Bryson wrote into us, and he said, well, for one, in this day and age, everything is offensive. I have been offended. Discriminated against, to be more precise. How is it that only slaves to the Apple tech get to be eligible for the dinner and podcast invite? I guess all us Android non-Apple users are just shit out of luck. Y'all ought to open this up to more than just Apple listeners. Don't be pawns in those big brother loving assholes game. He said, seriously, though.
We get to make the rules.
Yeah, well, he said, seriously, though, none of the 3 podcast apps I use allow for rating and a review. Unfortunately, I do leave comments, always thumbs up on Hurricane Creek. Would do the same for LH Farms, but there are never any new videos slacking Logan. A couple things on the latest podcast. While, yes, the U.S. does need to ensure its domestic food supply, the U.S. produces way more than it consumes. I believe y'all have talked about that, though. We would basically be giving a death sentence to millions in Africa. The Christian in me fights with the side of me that says they need to figure it out on their own. If not, the buzzards and worms have to eat too. And then he said there were 2 farms in southeast Arkansas that received right under $1 billion over a 3-year period back in the mid-2000s. Talk about farm subsidies. They got at least the next 5 generations of families set in high cotton with that one. Keep up the good work. Y'all keep my ride to work entertaining. Figure out a way to incorporate more than just Apple users on the review giveaway. I have quite the collection of bourbon I can bring, just saying. I want to say first, Bryson, appreciate the reach out. And I also am a proud Android man. I am not an Apple guy. So what I was thinking was, I think this would be the easiest and the fairest way to do it, is we need to put a link or like put an entrance on our website, and people go in, they enter their email, and I think that's the easiest way to do it. We'll have all their emails.
That would really make it easy for us. So we got we got a little over a month to figure to get that set up and give everybody time to go in there and do that.
Yeah,
I don't know how we double check to be sure that it would be just like the honor system, that if you're going in here and entering in the contest, you've also left us a rating and a review.
Well, I mean, I guess some of the guys would just get lucky, because I feel like we've unlocked the giveaway by reaching the goal. Is kind of how I look at it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Somebody's going to win it, but you'd like for it to be a way to ensure that whoever won it actually left a review.
Yeah. I mean, now, if it's Bryson, and since he doesn't listen on anything he can leave a review on, we'll cut him a little slack, because he'll just have to bring some bourbon or something with him.
Well, if he's subscribed on his podcast platform, subscribed on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, you're helping the algorithm there.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing for the rating and reviews. It helps the algorithm in a way that we really don't understand.
Yeah. But
somehow it helps.
That's the plan as far as I'm thinking. It's not hard to go in, and we'll just put an entrance on the website, and it'll probably put in your first name and your email, and you'll be entered in one entry. For the sake of ease, we probably won't do this and this and this, and you'll gain extra entrances, because then it gets really complicated. And neither we're farmers. We're not.
We're not tech geniuses.
No. So, Bryson, thank you for reaching out, man. I want to give a couple more shout outs to some of our other people that left ratings and stuff. Matt Fulton, he said, these guys have helped me make big decisions on my farm, and they're entertaining too. L. Snooge, I like the name. Great show. I appreciate y'all always bringing light to different stories in ag and putting a spotlight on our industry. Y'all have a great show. Got to get rid of those jorts, though. He's not a fan of your jorts.
Hey, man, that's kind of me paying homage to our Florida listeners. Florida man is always wearing the jean shorts.
It's true. That's very true.
So I do have a couple of pairs I wear, like doing chores around the farm.
I watched one on one of your videos.
And every time I put them on, I'm like, man, I feel like I ought to be, wearing my cut off Florida Gators shirt as I put on these shorts. But
well, I did buy some really short workout shorts, and the other day I finished working out, and I had to go to Nafy's and get something at the grocery store, and I just wore them. And I got to tell you what, I felt more masculine than I think I ever have.
I am a big believer of the whole skies out, thighs out kind
Yeah.
of thing. But I'm also like, I can't throw anything away. So like when I blow out the knees in a pair of blue jeans, I cut them off. I got me a pair of Daisy
I blow the
Dukes.
crotch out those. See, that's
Yeah.
what hurts me on those. All right.
I do sometimes. Well, hey, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, everybody needs to go to agzaga.com.
That's right. That's right.
They, you know, I guess last week, you know, we've hit on the bail net wrap and the rake parts, and just, I mean, you just got to go to the website, check everything out. But they're also your online store. We mentioned the Ertl tractor toys,
Yeah.
but also Big Country and Little Buster.
And they got the horse.
The Briar horses, rumor has it, they're going to have those here before long, which obviously, I mean, it's only August. I mean, we're sitting here recording on August 10th. But for those of us with small human beings living in our homes, we got Christmas right around the corner.
Yeah.
And Santa Claus, he knows to use that discount code. Santa ain't going to pay full price.
It is all caps.
Yeah.
Talk dirt, all caps.
Talk dirt, all caps. Santa Claus gets his 10% off when he goes and buys his farm toys.
That's right.
You guys should too. But yeah, I was proud to hear that. Yeah, my daughter will be pumped about the Briar horses.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll play with the tractor toys and the cattle and the those types of things. But she's a horse girl, so
The Ertl is what'll be. That's going to be the hit for my son, which I got on there actually last week, and I ordered an auto shut-off. I needed a new fuel auto shut-off, like a pump or whatever.
Oh,
and
for your transfer tank.
yeah, I ordered one of them. I want to that's it. It's just agzaga.com, which it'll be in the description below with the code. So check them out.
Yeah, Talk Dirt, 10% off.
Before we move to the topics, I got to read one more awesome rating, and this is from Aaron, U.S. Army. Best podcast in agriculture. I have listened to every single podcast. As a beginning cattle farmer and full-time Armed Forces member, we appreciate your service. I have truly learned so much from Bobby Lee and Logan. I learned about the podcast from Bobby's YouTube channel. Hearing their insights on ag has truly shaped my first-generation beef operation. Conversations on this podcast are the ones everyday's farmers are faced with. Since listening, I have bought land, learned ag loans, learned cattle crops, and finally got direction on the political ag front. My favorite segment is 2 words, made in America. Give a listen and you won't regret it. Man.
So he has actually bought land?
Yeah, it says he has bought land, learned ag loans.
What?
He's the man. I mean, dude, he's doing it. And
I might get emotional here. Like that's like, I mean, I hope people are learning stuff, you know, I mean, something. I mean, we try to be equal parts educational and entertaining, but
yeah.
Somebody, I mean, I don't know that we were the total inspiration for him to go out and buy land. Man, that's
awesome.
That's incredible.
Well,
like,
and I got a soft spot for our veterans. You know, I never served, but like, I just am a huge supporter. I got a lot of buddies.
that goes without being said, but yeah, just for, man, that's awesome. Like
it is,
because we hadn't been doing. We're closing in on 2 years.
Yeah,
but for him to, yeah, man, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
and we've talked about it probably more than any other subject we've discussed, other than hating on the government. That buying farmland, like almost. I mean, you could always overpay, I guess, but really hard to go wrong doing that. So that is fantastic to hear.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you for reaching out. And stay in touch with us, man. Hey, some of these guys, I want them to just keep us informed on how things are going. Reach back
absolutely. Yeah. Especially, people like that kind of maybe your journey has, maybe not started, or maybe it has started, or it's really just taken off over these last couple of years. And maybe it's just coincidence you've been listening to us, but man, that nothing better than hearing how you've grown over a short period of time.
Yeah.
Because, and I mean, we don't care if you're an older guy or not, but especially younger folks. And I mean, I say that as I'm sitting here at 40 years old, and I keep reminding myself all the time, I don't know that I'm necessarily a young guy anymore, but in the world of ag, heck, I'm still I'm nearly 20 years younger.
I was going to say, you're 20 years younger than the average.
Yeah. So, no, that is fantastic. Like, it really is.
Yeah. No, it means a lot to us. Again, man, we really appreciate that. And for anybody listening, go to talkdirtpodcast.com. And we've got a page on there on our contact. You can submit your questions, write into us. If you just want to tell us how much you hate us and we suck, you can write into us on there.
Now, if you're going to do that, leave it in a review so that it helps the algorithm.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say,
give us 5 stars and then tell us we suck.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, even if you send it in, do so that we can make fun of you on air, at least.
Yeah.
But, so you got a topic. And then I got some questions here.
Yeah, I had something. I was going to mention it last week because as I was looking it up for like the articles, it's actually not super recent news. It's from more like back in the spring. But Italy, our Italian brethren, they are making moves or getting ready to ban the lab-grown meat.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I was going to mention last weweek. Then they've kind of doubled down. Like I might
move to Italy.
I don't know. Like, I mean, if things got wild enough here, I might consider it.
Yeah.
Because they've also, did you see where the Miss Italy
you sent
contest,
me that.
They have banned transgender participants in the Miss Italy, which crazy enough, like 5 years ago, that wouldn't even been news. We're like, well, yeah, of course they have.
Yeah.
Except that, all these super progressive countries are now, I mean, they're even winning. Like,
yeah,
maybe was it Denmark or where was it? I'm sorry to any of our listeners in Denmark if it wasn't you guys, but one where a transgender won it, and it was like, the first runner up was clearly a woman, and she was like a smoke show.
Yeah,
and like the dude, and a transgender woman is a dude. I mean,
yes,
that's all it is.
No debate on that.
One was like, I mean, fell out of the ugly tree and hit every limb on the way down, as we would say back in my day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's just a mockery.
Yeah.
And so the Italians might be getting more things right than most of us these days.
Aren't the Italians the one that build Ferraris? Aren't those Italian?
Man, I'm not a luxury sports car kind of guy, but I think that's right.
Well, they also, like the Ferrari or Lamborghini, one of them, which I'm pretty sure is Italian, they have doubled down on making gas-powered cars in this EV push, which we talked about on the tractors last week. The Ferrari, they're like, we might produce some electric ones, but we're not going to stop making our gas because that's what we're known for. So
that makes sense.
I might have to have lasagna or something.
Yeah, Ferrari is
soon.
Italian.
I thought that's why I got a couple of them. I thought they were Italian.
I thought it was going to go. You were going to say something about they were trying to get them to quit putting like leather, like and use like a synthetic.
And the Italians might be like, we're going to kill more crocodiles and stuff now and put it on the seats.
And like back to the food thing, it kind of makes sense because obviously the food heritage in Italy is super rich, and I mean I know a lot of countries probably feel that way too, but
yeah.
I just got to thinking, like, obviously, Italy, immediately think about spaghetti and stuff like that. Of course, we're Americans, so of course we get it. But like all like the specialty meats and stuff that they have.
Yeah, prosciutto, whatever it is.
And like
Lady and the Tramp.
I may be getting this, but like I don't know if like pepperoni and like salami,
sounds
all
Italian.
Those like cured meats or
pepperoni. I can hear an Italian.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, somebody might say, well, that actually originated in where? Okay, whatever.
It's probably from
it's to two rednecks from Tennessee. It's Italian.
It probably came from Iraq or somewhere.
It's like I know you never really watched The Big Bang Theory, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
Sheldon, they were all goofballs, but I don't remember, he was sick or something, and he was getting. I don't know if he was getting Penny to make him. He's like, my mom always made spaghetti with little hot dogs, chopped up in it. He's like, it's a real Italian treat. So yeah, I'm sure.
They put hot dogs in theirs.
Yeah,
I heard if you go to Italy, that's what you get.
That's actually true Italian spaghetti. Is there's not some special marinara sauce. It's just
some red sauce with hot dogs in it.
Yeah, it's just tomato sauce with hot dogs.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. That sounds right to me.
Yeah, probably so. I've never been to Italy, so I can't say.
But maybe Talk Dirt to Me will make a break to Italy.
Hey,
Maybe Ferrari will sponsor us.
from an ag perspective, that'd probably be a pretty good destination.
We could record in Italy. But yeah, no, well, it's good to hear, because I had some people send me some stuff on the lab grown meats, and it looked funky, man. Like, it looks weird. And like we mentioned I think it was last week we mentioned, it's just comical to me, because some of these same people are the same ones that are bashing farmers for using GMO crops.
Well,
and it's like, dude, your stuff is completely synthetic.
And all these people, like, they contradict themselves so much, but I think maybe the only angle that I could see someone logically working out in their head for the lab grown stuff is that they're not eating flesh from something that had to die.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I don't, that doesn't resonate with me, but all right. But yeah, as far as, you've heard, or have you seen, anybody who's investigated, like, it's not any more sustainable, any greener, any of those buzzwords or terminology, like, none of that. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form from that angle.
Yeah. Well, they claim, a lot of them now claim vertical farming is going to be the way of the future.
I was actually listening to a podcast on that.
Well, I don't know anything about it.
I think it uses, and I was just getting into one, uses a lot of hydroponics.
Did they just grow, like, in a greenhouse that goes up?
And I don't know how, like, truly, I don't know how they're laid out, but if it's truly, vertical, or it's just that it's all indoors. But they were saying, like, some crops, and I think it was more like they aren't growing like soybeans like that. It was like,
it's got to be
fruits
produce.
and vegetables. Yeah. And they were saying, they claim that, like, for some crops they can get like 350 times the yield, like, per acre.
Really?
And that has to be like some very specific specialty
It's
crop.
got to be because they can 100% control the environment and everything.
Yeah. There's no pesticides necessary because there's no weeds, there's no bugs. They control all that. It's 100% climate controlled. So I can understand where
they fertilize.
I'm sure they just add it to the water if it's all hydroponic. And they were talking about how it could be useful. Like, one of the biggest ones in the world was in, like, Dubai. Like, okay, that kind of makes sense, because obviously that's a huge population center, but it's also in the middle of the desert. So they otherwise have to import like 99% of their food.
So they didn't move to where the food is.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, and they're saying in some ways it's even better for you because it doesn't lose its nutrients. Like, normally if they're buying lettuce, like,
it's got to travel a long ways
to get there.
Yeah.
But I forget what the number was, but it was something crazy. How many quote unquote vertical farms there were in the U.S. and it was an enormous number.
Really?
Like, whoa.
Oh.
Now some of them may be pretty small. Like, it's, I don't know at what point you go from being technically just a greenhouse to being a vertical farm.
I'm going to look into it more.
Greenhouse considered a vertical farm? I don't know.
I'm going to look into it more. We need to do a whole episode on vertical farming. I think that'd be a good one.
It's just crazy you mentioned that, because I don't know that I'd ever heard that term more than like 3 hours ago.
Oh, really?
As I was driving back from my daughter's softball practice, I was just going through my library of podcasts I hadn't caught up on for the week. Clicked on
was it a shark farmer?
No, it was Discover Ag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
With Natalie and Tara. Yeah.
I still have got to follow back up with her, because I would actually, that's something I would like to hear from our audience there. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, DM us on Instagram, submit on our website. Would you like for us to have some guests on here from time to time? Because we've got a few people that we've talked about having on the show, and Tara is one of them. I've actually contacted her, and we've got some that I think would be cool.
That they just recently had a guest, because they have different types of episodes. They have some episodes but they have one where they debunk, like, some of these documentaries, which they even point out, like, some of these aren't even documentaries, they're just propaganda.
Yeah.
They had a guest that you've also had on Living Fully Loaded.
Which one?
They had Valentine Thomas.
Oh, really? Okay.
She's a spear fisherman.
Yeah.
But she's a big advocate for fishing and eating fish. She's even written, like, fishing cookbooks. And there was a documentary, like, trying to bash, like, It's all vegans, so they're bashing any form of eating any kind of animal protein.
Valentine is not a typical one either. Like Valentine leans. Yeah, she can lean to the left side of things, so she'd be interesting. I'll have to look that one up. I didn't know they had her.
She's a pretty good guess. They had her own.
She's got a really cool accent. I mean, she's French. She's Canadian, but she's got a very strong French.
Quebec, I think.
Yeah. Terrible internet service where she was, but I do remember
when
that.
You interviewed her,
Yes, it was bad. Well, I got a couple questions. And I got one for myself first. For you on the cattle side.
Let's say you can ask yourself a question.
From me, yes, Logan. I need to ask you something. So tonight I had some ribeyes from my bull that I had processed. And I was trying to figure out, my wife worked and I had to pick the kids up from school. So I was like, what can I cook for dinner tonight? And so I had a few ribeyes in the freezer. I pulled out and thawed them out. Oh, they were beautiful ribeyes, but they had very limited marbling. And so I knew, I was like, these are probably not going to be that spectacular. So I seasoned them up pretty well. They had a good taste, but they were real tough. They just weren't, they're lean. They're very lean. And so my question is for we got the farm store. If I wanted to sell good steaks and I had had some bulls or cows, whatever, that I was feeding out, what is the protocol to get fat in there? Because you need that good marbling on your steak.
Yeah, though he was a bull.
Yeah, I didn't castrate him.
So I don't know. I'd probably start there and castrate them in the future. I don't know if statistically, like, they show a major difference. I'm sure that data is out there.
Being castrated or not?
Yeah. Does that make a difference on how they'll grade?
Yeah. Because see, the flavor was still good, which that's what I was worried about, not getting them castrated. They,
and then just feeding them to get them really fat. I don't mind, like, before I was feeding calves, our local store, Nafy's, give them a shout out. They would occasionally have, like, I don't know what grade they were.
The select?
They're big meat. So yeah, I think it would be select ribeyes.
Yeah, I've seen those.
You could buy a whole ribeye select, and they were cheap, because I mean, normally, like, for grilling ribeyes, choice.
Yeah.
And then of course prime, if you can find it, or
I don't ever hardly even see prime.
You don't find prime, of course, a lot of restaurants, will have prime beef, maybe like some specialty stores, but just going to a regular grocery store, like most time, like when you buy like the ribeyes they've got sitting out there, if you throw on the grill, it's gonna be choice ribeyes.
Yeah.
And those you buy a whole, slab of, as a whole ribeye, and they'd slice it for you that would be select. We would buy those. Now, a lot of times I wouldn't use those to just throw on the grill.
Like fajitas or something?
Yeah. We'd use them for fajitas and stir fry.
Are they leaner?
Well, they just don't have the intramuscular fat, the marbling. They may have the fat around the outside, but what you really want is that intramuscular fat.
See, that's how these are. These had the outer fat, but that's what I noticed because, it's funny. I actually remember it from when me and you went through the original Master Beef Producer class. Yeah. Like, I'm not the cattleman like Bobby Lee. I'm a row crop guy, but as I've gotten older, I actually find myself more enthralled by it. But at the time, I was like, I don't even remember how old I was. I really didn't give a rat's ass about it at the time me and you went through it because I was young. And but for some reason, I do just remember them talking about the marbling of a steak and how you want that, which that's why, the Wagyu that's so expensive is like heavily marbled. It's like...
They look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which I've eaten some, like, at a restaurant, but I've never actually seen...
I've only ever had a Wagyu burger. I've never had
at the meat counter. And you got to watch, it's like all the labeling in meat, like, where's the Wagyu, it all goes back to like Kobe beef.
Wasn't it Japanese?
But I think to be Kobe, it has to actually be from Japan and like raised by their standards. That's like a a brand more or less.
Yeah.
But of course, here in the U.S., and I don't, I'm not hating on anybody, but it's almost become like a fad. Like everybody's, I got the Wagyu or I got the Akaushi or whatever, which is just, I think Wagyu literally means like black cow in Japan. And like the Akaushi or Akiushi or whatever, I'm definitely not saying that correctly. It just means red cow. And so it's just the red-haired version of the Wagyu.
Yeah.
As far as I understand it, again.
Well, only time I'd ever had it was actually when I was in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was.
Yeah, a lot of those restaurants out there.
It was a Wagyu smash burger, which I was like, it's kind of weird that they'd make burger out of Wagyu, but it was kind of dumb, expensive, but like.
Well, there's going to be those cuts that aren't,
up to their standard, I guess.
Or just, you got all the other cuts of meat that aren't, your ribeyes, your T-bones, and, your sirloins. And so.
Well, it was a delicious burger.
It's going to make ground product and then just your trimmings. And so, I feel like it's, to an extent, it's almost overdone. Like, and you see people like, I don't know, and I'm all for people finding the niche market and making all the extra money they can, but seems like it's kind of gotten a little oversaturated, and I don't know.
So
anyway.
For a guy like myself or somebody listening, if he's like, man, I want to grow if we got somebody listening, he's like, I want to start growing just, 10 head of, steers that I'm going to get processed, and I want to sell. I want to have good, because it's easy to get good ground.
That might be where I would go Wagyu. Like if I was going to have a small operation, like I say, I was going to have 10 mama cows every year. I was going to, keep their calves back and feed them. I was going to be all the way from, cow calf all the way through to putting
the bullet in their head.
Yeah. Putting a steak on your plate.
Yeah. What would be the way to do that?
The investment, go ahead and buy you some, and maybe you just buy some nice, really good carcass trait Angus cows, and then you breed them to a Wagyu bull.
Yeah.
You buy you a Wagyu bull.
Can you buy Wagyu bulls around here?
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, I feel almost certain. I've never been in the market for one, but like and now people will want stupid money for them, I'm sure, but then you're raising a
Wagyu.
Say you get your calf crop out of those. They're half Angus, half Wagyu. You're marketed as such, and you feed those out, and especially after you see how they do that first year, and like, oh yeah, where somebody like me, for my just basically Angus cross steers, I'm charging $4 or $5 a pound, carcass weight. They might charge $7 or $8 a pound.
Yeah. Well, it's to me, it's the same premise as the butterfly on the packages. For people like the non-GMO.
Yeah.
You can charge more. You can charge a premium.
Yeah, organic.
Now,
and if you're going to go really small and going to go really niche, then do things like that to add value.
Well, I was going to say, you could really pump up the numbers on it if you said it was Wagyu, grass-fed, grass-finished, because that's where people really get goofy.
Nobody will be able to afford it by the time you put all this going on. Charging $42 a pound.
No, you'd have
carcass weight.
Yeah, you'd have some jacklegs that would want it. You'd have to sell it online.
And there are people out there doing that. Like, so, I mean, if somebody out there again is listening, is like, no, we only charge $8. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, but I guarantee you there are people that do that. The other problem, I think, and the Wagyu, and I may be totally speaking out of line here, I think they might take a little longer to finish, period.
Yeah.
And so and then finishing them on grass, it's really going to take a long time. But if you ever look at a picture of them, like, especially if you're used to like, Angus and like, typically what we think of as cattle in this country, you'd be like, I wouldn't give $10 for that.
Really? I was figuring it would be a big fat cow.
No, they look ugly as hell. They look like some, dairy cross, like
Really?
They don't look like, to look at them, you're like, that is what people are, which I mean, again, the outside ain't what people are buying. They're buying for what that ribeye looks like. You're like, but you look at that, and of course, because we're so, and of course, a lot of this is the marketing machine that is the Angus Association. You're like, I want to see a big, fat, muscled up.
Oh yeah, I want a big badass looking bull out there.
Or
his
or
neck.
steer. Like if you tell me like I'm about to eat one of these, like I want the Angus. you know. And it ain't gotta be. I'm one of the first people to tell you that the hair color doesn't matter, but I'll take the red calf. The
Oh yeah, I don't care what color they are, but I want him to look like
And
he
then
could
the
pick
Wagyu
up a
looks
train.
It's like something wrong with it. Is that like crossed with like a wildebeest or something? Like
Really?
it's all kind of,
Man.
they just don't look it.
See, in my head here, I was envisioning like this. I was envisioning doing this, and I was going to have some really bad to the bone looking Wagyu bull out there that people drive by and be like, dang, look at that hoss. Wow.
Now, if you didn't know any better, you look at them. They look almost.
They look as bad as some of these out here.
No, like, they're just they look almost, to me. I think like it's some kind of like a dairy cross or something. Like, I mean, they just,
wow. That is not what I expected.
Some of these look a little fatter and better, but
that one right there looks kind of odd. Like that's just
like
it's kind of humped. Like it just.
Like if you just ran him through the ring at a sale barn, which would be dumb, and nobody would ever do this because nobody's going to know what they're buying necessarily. Even like
you'd get smoked.
He wouldn't bring nothing. I'd be like, yeah, that's. But I mean, like, look, he's not even like.
Yeah,
I'm not a show cattle kind of guy. Like I'm actually, I wouldn't say I'm anti-show cattle, but like there tends to be a big rift like in the cattle industry between people who like actually raise beef cattle, there are people who like raise beef steers. A lot of times what wins in the show ring isn't what's practical in the real world.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound like that, but like
it's very much like in the road crop world.
Ugly.
Yeah,
they're ugly. Like these cattle, like from what
that was not
we expect in the U.S., even not talking about show cattle, like they're just ugly. Like they.
I wonder what the calf, like an Angus Wagyu mix, do they look that ugly?
Oh no, I'm sure. Obviously, they
look a little better.
Yeah.
Now, if you did purebred Wagyu, they'd all be ugly as hell.
But think about it. If you're raising purebred Wagyu, you're not selling the animals. You're selling meat.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, to me, for what I would rather do, I'd want to have about 10 head, and I'd want to kill off a couple a year and just have high-end cuts of meat.
Well, and it's like you got it to where you had the damn USDA.
I got the truck and I can haul the shit.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say something. Well, let's do this, kind of thing. We'll either get just some Wagyu semen, or maybe even buy a Wagyu.
I figured
bull.
you'd want to get some semen.
And breed cows and we'll have a 50% Wagyu product.
Yeah,
you can still charge a premium for that, obviously, and especially if you're breeding it to good carcass trait females.
Yeah.
To begin with. And
wonder what straws would run.
But you got to have a niche,
Well, and that's why, like, I don't have, between the row cropping and now the store, I don't have the time to mess with them like I would need for a big herd.
That's something that could be like in our 10-year plan.
Yeah,
5-year plan.
Well, that's why I'm like small niche. I mean, I'm all about the niche, man. I think that's the way to go.
And that's where you're going to capture a premium, and a lot of times it's between making some money and breaking even, or losing money.
What for the guy listening that's like, all right, I'm not going to get a Wagyu bull, but I've got some commercial herd. I want to feed them out. I want better marbling. What are you feeding them? Just straight corn at the end? I mean, what do you?
So mine is a corn-based ration, but you can't. You got to have a protein supplement. So mine eat. It's whole shell corn. We feed, actually, it's a co-op pelleted feed, tenderloin.
Yeah.
With rumensin, which is just an ionophore, and then I usually add a little soybean meal or cottonseed meal, one of those. They're both like 40 to 45% protein on those two, kind of byproducts, and Yeah, but it's a corn based diet. Like mine are corn fed.
Yeah.
They ain't grass finished. They're corn finished.
Because that's just pretty much a fat.
Corn. Oh man,
Because it's not protein, but
yeah, the carbohydrate. You know, yeah.
I mean, I know from a bodybuilding standpoint, some of them guys used to just take straight carbs. They wanted carbs.
Yeah,
carbs and protein.
They're bulking.
Yes, to really bulk, it was carbs and protein.
Yeah.
Because I also know, you get a lot of your energy from carbs. So like when you go, I guess keto is like anti-carbs, ain't it? Isn't that essentially?
Yeah, keto is like in different people, because I've done it a few times. A lot of people will go. I think you'd go like when you're looking at your macros, you'd go like 60% of your calories protein, 30% fat, like 10% carbs.
Yeah.
And some people go even more extreme. And
did you test your pee?
I never did that. I had an app.
You pee on your phone?
Yeah. Yeah, just pee right on the phone. But you just, of course it had like, if you went to like McDonald's, which you wouldn't do that if you were trying to do keto.
Yeah.
But like it already had all the food automatically in there for most stuff you would eat. And it would, like, you just be like, oh, I ate, a 12-ounce ribeye, 2 eggs, and whatever. And it automatically calculated out that which if you do that, you ate no carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keto is like extremely carb restrictive. Maybe not be zero carbs, but it's really.
I just know most of the time when guys are bulking, they eat carbs pretty heavily. So that's where I'm thinking like, okay, corn definitely be a good bulking end on that. Cause, I fed my bull, I fed him Beef Builder. I was feeding him a feeding supplement.
Yeah, and that's not a bad, finishing ration, there.
And I was feeding him twice a day. I
don't know. I know, like mine, with the plan I have, like they don't get any roughage. We start them out on it, but you wean them off that. Like they're eating just that corn and protein supplement diet. I looked up the corn here. Yeah, corn is primarily carbs, a little fat, and very little protein.
Yeah, I was thinking it was
not
virtually
much
no
fat
protein
either. It's just a lot of carb.
Yeah.
But
what? All right. So corn. And something that I would actually recommend, and I've never tried this, but it's kind of fascinating to me, and I only speak on it because actually my brother-in-law's dad used to go. We have those beer distilleries in Memphis.
Yeah.
And he used to go down and he would get their waste.
Yeah, distillers grains.
Yeah. And he would feed that to his, and he was selling the meat. Like he would get it processed. And I think, hell, they actually might have give it to him.
You might at some point, but yeah, a lot of these places, which
they probably figured if they had enough demand, people wanting it, they probably started charging.
There's all different kinds. There's like wet distillers grains, which is like
his, I think, was still wet.
Yeah, and that's kind of a little harder to handle, Plus, like if you're buying much of it, like you're hauling a lot of water weight.
Yeah.
But there's DDGs, is dried distillers grains, which is a byproduct of ethanol production too.
Yeah.
Because and obviously we've got an ethanol plant not too far from us.
Yeah.
But it's a little further than is convenient, because I've called and talked to them about getting just the distillers grains.
Yeah.
And even getting them to bring it to you, but I don't have, like, you really need like a commodity type shed where they can dump it. Where you got like a little bay.
Yeah. They need like a pit to dump it in.
Yeah, or like almost like people that have like a fertilizer shed,
okay. Yeah. They can put it up.
Bring like a dump trailer and just dump it in there, and then it's hard to feed it. Like you would almost need to be like mixing it in a ration.
Yeah.
Now some places they'll actually put it into like a pelleted form or like range cubes.
Well, you definitely gonna pay pretty good for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and from like the ethanol plant, that's one of their major byproducts. Like, no, they don't give it away for sure.
Yeah. See, this was
it's a really good an excellent feed product.
Yeah. See, this was probably, I think when he was doing this, it was probably about 10 years ago now. And at the time, I think around here, they were actually just giving it to him. Now, I'm pretty sure it was still wet.
And like in the wet form like that, you just because they don't have to go through all the hassle, they would give it away in that form. But yeah, man.
I know he said the cows would be drunk as hell, just going crazy out there. But it is fascinating to me. Like,
it's good to give them like during breeding season.
Yeah, let them get just sloppy drunk and get to cracking out there.
Kind of lower their inhibitions. Then maybe cows would be over there a little shy, and then he'd pull in there and dump that out, and before you knew it, they were all up on the bulls.
Yeah, he didn't need any courage at that point.
It's just like college.
Yeah. Well, that it's that stuff is pretty cool to me because like I said, man, like the ground beef, which that's what when I get a bull or cow processed, primarily you're doing for me, I'm getting it for the ground. Well, I mean, you get more of that than anything.
I tell everybody, like the steaks are great. Like I think I have great steaks that come out of my steers. You don't buy a half carcass of beef for the steaks, because you just don't get enough of them.
Yeah,
like you
get a lot of roasts. The roasts are good.
You better, right, and especially the ground products. You're always gonna have a bunch of ground beef.
Yeah,
and I have some people that they're like, man, we don't use a crock pot. I don't know how to cook a good roast, whatever. Go just get those ground up then. That's just more ground beef. Now, you're gonna need to eat ground beef 2 or 3 nights a week.
Yeah,
we ate some burgers right before I came over here tonight.
I cooked those ribeyes, and then earlier this week we used some of the ground. We used some of Moose was his name every week.
Yeah,
because I tell the kids all the time, like, we're eating moose tonight.
We try to eat ground product 2 or 3 nights a week.
Yeah,
which we usually eat burgers once a week. I mean, almost without question.
We're that way with tacos.
Well, yeah, tacos real common. And of course we'll just try to spaghetti.
Yeah, you got to
find use. See, we ain't eating chili this time of year, but
I'm bad now. Like I've still got deer meat that's like. I don't hardly ever eat deer meat anymore because I eat so much beef.
Well, like when we're doing, like spaghetti or chili, or sometimes even tacos, I'll use either
some deer.
My deer or the buffalo that I bought.
Yeah.
Which, gosh, I've had him nearly a year, but it was real lean. Kind of the same thing. I'm not really going to pat a burger out of him. Then the burgers aren't bad at that buffalo, but.
See, I don't like deer burgers very much.
Just making like a hamburger out of deer meat, I'm not a big fan either.
No,
I'll do it every now and then.
They're dry a lot of times.
It's just not. I mean, they're super lean.
Yeah,
especially if you don't add any, like a lot of people add bacon fat or pork fat or just beef fat to it. I don't. I tell them just keep mine lean. Or I think the deer I killed last year in Montana, I ground it up myself. So the buddy of mine was like, "Did you add any fat?" I was like, "No," and like it is lean. Like I don't know what but it's like.
Like 90-10 or something.
Oh, it might be leaner than that. but I always I put it in my tacos, and I add chorizo, sausage to my.
I'm getting indigestion just hearing about it. Well,
dude, I can do that, but I've had getting old. My freaking I cooked ribs on Sunday.
Ribs will give me terrible indigestion.
I was fine Sunday night because I pre-gamed with my antacid.
Yeah.
And I guess because then I go to sleep and I kind of sleep through when I would normally have the indigestion. I heated them up again for lunch on Monday. Took my antacid. About 6 o'clock Monday night, I wanted to die.
Really? And you took an antacid?
Yeah.
See, that usually will protect me.
I couldn't even eat supper Monday night.
Dang.
I came home and I told my wife, which worked out for her. I was like, hey, you know what? Because I cook a bunch. But I was like, what were you planning on for supper? She's like, nothing. I was like, well,
good.
It works out. I was like, don't cook anything on account of me because I was like, I ain't eating. Like I did my evening chores, kind of got the kids situated. I was like, I'm going to bed. I went to bed before the kids did.
I have to sit up too when I have indigestion.
I felt terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I take an antacid beforehand, I'm good. If I ever get it, even if I take antacid, I'll be down for a while.
I've done it 2 days in a row because I was disappointed because I was like, I can eat them as long as I eat. And then I met one of our distributor reps on Tuesday at Huey's like I do every other week.
Yeah.
And I had a burger. I've eaten like 4 burgers this week.
Well, that's good.
And I had a burger with the, I forget which one it is, but had like the onion straws on it.
Blues 57?
I don't know. No, I can't remember. It was one of them. But yeah. And that night, I had it.
The onion straws got you?
The onion straws, which they do. And I knew they would, but I did the same thing. I didn't pregame, but as soon as I got back to my office, I grabbed a famotidine off the shelf. And I still. Now, here's the crazy thing. We had a school function that night, and they had like food trucks and all there. I was like, no, I'm still, I'm just stuffed because I ate all that for lunch, but I got a little bit of indigestion. Then we had a meeting. It was like 9 o'clock before we got done. Then I was coming home. I was like, damn, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So I hit a drive-through. I ate another burger.
Burger. Yeah.
And then I cooked burgers tonight. So
you got to carry peppermints with you, man. That's the weapon. That's what I carry with me everywhere.
Oh, and then I ate a burger at the Sale Barn yesterday.
Well,
so those are my 4 burgers this week.
Dude, I'm with you. I've eaten for lunch. I ate a lot of burgers, which actually this week the kids went back to school. So Marcy's been she's cooked a bunch. And so I've actually been eating a lot of leftovers this week. And she actually cooked some of the pork chops last night we got from Logan. Yeah. And
I've got some thawed out in the fridge.
Man, we have so much stuff of that left, too. I'm just
about done with the chops.
Yeah.
We still got some steaks and
I got bacon coming out of my ears because the bacon is. Do you like the bacon? It's different.
It's different. Now, I actually had a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich this morning.
With that bacon? Yeah. It's so thick. It's so thick and it's uncured and stuff. So, it don't have the flavor. It's not, most of the bacon you get in the store is hickory smoked.
Well, it's real salty. And,
See, and so it's kind of weird. Like, Dad, I gave him some and he was like, I don't even like it. He don't like it.
Right. It's because we're so used to, the cured,
this is like legit bacon. I think he cooked some one night and he bought some of that liquid smoke and tried to add it to it.
We've gotten so used to, I may have mentioned on here that I bought some of that heirloom rice.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you mentioned on air, but you told me off air. They passed me some of that Bernheim over here too.
I don't know that I was just not that aware of heirloom rice versus just the commercial rice.
I didn't know there was a difference.
I bought a bunch because I was having to get it shipped, and I was like, well, I'll go ahead and bought, but I hadn't tried it. We were going to eat it. We were actually going to eat it last night with some of those pork chops, and
that's what Marcy did, rice in the crock pot with pork chops.
And they say this rice, you don't even really need to season it, just because it naturally, because it's an heirloom, it hasn't been bred just to be super high producing. It still has all the properties, that good rice should have. And but we ended up actually went and visited with my grandfather last night or late yesterday afternoon. And we stayed with him long enough. We were like, neither one of us wanted to go home and cook, so we stopped and got something to eat on the way home.
Where'd y'all get?
Olympic.
Okay. Greek.
Yeah.
Did you get you Italian?
No, it was Greek, man. When in Rome. Which I guess I'd have to say when in Athens.
Did you get some gyros?
I did. Had the
gyros?
Had me a gyro. No, was it Euros?
Euros.
I had the Euro plate. I love it.
You know the song about that, don't you?
No.
What? You don't know the song about the gyros or whatever? Oh, man.
It's like Adam Sandler.
It was, it's actually your buddy, Luke Bryan. Man, I can't believe you don't know this song.
Oh gosh, this is going to take us down a rabbit hole.
It might be him and Justin Timberlake. Let me see here.
But now, shout out to Olympic, one of our locally owned. It's a Greek restaurant, Olympic Steak and Pizza. That's my go-to when I'm there. It's I get that with the grilled vegetables.
Yeah,
which is kind of salty, like the meat is.
We do got to put these on for this.
Of course, you get the pita bread with it.
I've never tried one.
Really?
Yeah, never had one.
You can get the wrap or you can get the plate. I usually, it depends. If I'm just there for lunch, I'll get the wrap. But it's really good. It's really tasty. Now it comes with.
It's got lamb in it, don't it?
I believe it is lamb. It's kind of it's a different kind of texture. Comes with a cucumber, I don't know if you call it it's not salsa, but like sauce is, I guess, the only word I know to use.
It's not really sucking me in as you're talking about it.
I actually, I was going to say, I don't put that on there at all.
Okay.
Because it's kind of salty. It's really got a lot of flavor to it. Speaking of indigestion, cucumber will give me a terrible indigestion.
Well, Dad's the same way. He cannot eat a raw cucumber.
Well, and the cucumber in there is raw, and it's like, I don't know. It's got to have me mayonnaise or something else in there. It's kind of, it looks almost like slaw to an extent, but it's cucumber.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, here you go.
That's, hell, we've talked all about European and now, or not European.
We're all over the globe.
Italian and Greek food, all our Mediterranean.
People can't see this in our video. We've talked about it before. Look at what we have here. We have a globe. We are very cultured.
Very, very sophisticated. We have many leather-bound novels.
That's right. Here you go. So it's actually Luke Bryan and Jimmy Fallon. I don't remember. I'll show you.
Still can't believe it. The garden, baby.
I mean, come on.
That was us.
You want some lunch? I'm buying.
Yeah, man, I'm starving. What are you getting?
I'll have the falafel plate, please. How about you?
That thing there.
I can see which one.
The brown stuff. That you know. Man, I'm good.
Caleb, what's going on, man?
He doesn't know how to say it.
No, they make a whole song about it.
Not exactly.
We'll play just a little bit of this. I can't believe you've never heard this.
I was born in Southwest Georgia. Always tried to make my daddy proud. But of all the things I've learned there, never learned how to say that word out loud. I just want something to eat, made with a vertical rotisserie of lamb meat.
I think I know just what you're going through. The way they spell that gosh darn word seems like a trap. It's just lamb meat and other stuff rolled up in a pita. I wish you just called it a lamb tzatziki wrap. I could eat 1,000 ounces.
We got to get to the chorus.
If I just knew how to pronounce it.
Is it gyro, gyro, hero or gyro? Never been filled with so much doubt. Is it
I've always been told it's like Euro, like Euro. I don't know, gyro.
I'm going back to no headphone now.
Fortunately, the waitress and just the wait staff in general, I mean, they're all Tipton County rednecks.
They call it gyro.
I think you call it any of those things, they're gonna know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's like my wife when we go eat Mexican, because I took Spanish in high school, like I guess all of us did.
Yeah.
I guess you could take other foreign languages, but
so do you roll your R?
I will to an extent. Like
yeah.
I tell them gracias. Like when they hand me my beers, I don't say like dos cervezas, or anything like that. When I'm ordering my 2-for-1s, but like I feel like I can pronounce for the most part anything on the menu. My wife's like that person that'll be like, she'll like point to the menu.
She don't want to say it.
You chicken shit. Like
yeah.
At least try to say it.
When I enjoy it because I like pollo margaritas, and it's POLLO at margaritas.
Yeah, you got to roll that
and
one.
I've been with people, and they'll be like, "I'll take the polo margaritas," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's pollo."
Like you're hocking a loogie kind of.
Yeah, pollo margaritas. Get some cheaps. Like I don't know. Well, there you go. We got several questions.
We were food heavy on that one, man.
We were,
and I talked Mexican and Italian and Greek, and
I think the cattle talk. Like I hate to go into a question at this point. So we got several questions in. I'm going to save all of them, and we will get to you next week as much as we can, because I don't want to. Like I said, I don't want to cut you short. So. For everybody that wrote in and I said I'd get to you, it'll be next week. And for those of you that are in the cattle world, I hope that this helped you out on maybe how you feed them out. Maybe it gave some people some ideas. Maybe they're going to go buy them a Wagyu bull.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, And that was awesome. Who was our veteran? Aaron. That really was awesome.
Yeah,
bought farmland, and since he started listening, again, I don't know if it was the total. He may have been planning on buying some to begin with, but
first generation cattleman.
That's pretty awesome.
That is.
Words. Made in America.
Made in America. Do you got them tonight? I don't remember who did it last week. I have a product
we did
coming.
We did the Ag Zag rake wheels last week.
That's right. Well, I've got something coming, but I haven't tested it yet, so I don't want to talk about it yet.
Well, I can I can shout out because I've got a running list. Hey, this is a pretty. I can't believe you've never had this one. You never had you a Hanks belt?
I've seen them online.
My dad is like, he's worse than my wife about like just buying random shit online.
Did he buy you a Hanks belt?
So I think he's bought several like over the last couple of years, but finally here I guess he just couldn't help himself. He had to buy like me and my brother and himself. So Hanks, just like Logan and I sitting here.
Yeah,
Hanks
not
belts.
Hanks.
Hanks belts. Believe they're made in Pennsylvania, but I've only had mine for maybe 2 or 3 weeks now, but I've been wearing it.
Leather.
Oh yeah, hell of a good leather belt, like big thick leather belt.
Yeah.
But
we're probably kin to them.
Well,
I'm sure your dad has traced our lineage to them.
According to my dad, all the Hankses in North America, we're supposedly we
From
all
the
go
same-
back, to the same basic, European, heritage or whatever.
My wife will get a kick. She gets like, I don't want to say annoyed with me, but she kind of like, rolls her eyes with me when I'll make remarks like, Tom Hanks is our cousin. Like I'll make that remark and she'll kind of be like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, he is. He's from the same lineage. And then if somebody really wants me to like go down the path, I'll be like, Abraham Lincoln's mother was our cousin.
Yeah.
Nancy.
Nancy Hanks, yeah.
She was our cousin. So, yeah, I do enjoy that. Now,
They have a 100-year warranty.
Dang. Pawpaw Pee-wee'd be the only person I know of that might contest that warranty.
Speaking of, we went to see him yesterday, yeah.
Is he 100 in October?
100 in October. He told me yesterday, he said, and pretty much he had been exactly right. He said, I'm like 51 days away from being 100.
And his mind is still pretty dang good.
Oh, yeah. No, he's, I like, go and visit. Like, I have a great time. Like, because it's always a lively, you have a hell of a good conversation. Like, no, he's as sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
It says, we believe in making our belts right so you don't have to buy a belt twice. They make belts specifically for carrying.
They got some EDC belts?
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
Like they are a quality company.
I will have to get on there and get me one.
Hanks belts. But, too, as we just mentioned, the Ag Zag rake wheels.
Yep.
Remind y'all, check out agzaga.com for plenty of made in the USA products, but plenty of just about anything you need. Your bail net wrap, baling season, not over with yet. Of course, again, we mentioned the toys earlier.
Yeah.
Christmas right around the corner, not too early to start thinking about it. And
just a few months away.
yeah, be ready to type in that Talk Dirt discount code.
All caps and all one word.
Because, even Santa Claus likes to get 10% off.
Yep. Now, I ordered me some darn tough socks there. I needed some new socks the other day. And you had given me a pair back for my birthday. It worked out. I think it was it fell on my birthday or around my birthday when we did an episode, and you gave me a pair, and I needed some ankle socks, and I wanted some of those. I make fun of Marcy for them, but I wear shorts a lot. And I don't like not wearing socks. So I needed some of them like no-show socks. Yeah. They make those. Darn Tough's got all of them.
I've got a pair of like they're real thin, but they're like running socks.
And it's got they got the no-show even has like little grippers on the back of them to like keep them on your foot.
Oh, okay. I don't guess I have any of those. I've got their boot socks. I've got just some, I don't know what you'd call them, just like regular socks.
Yeah. Well, they're darn tough.
Yeah, they are. Well, their whole thing is you buy 7 pairs of socks, and you'll never have to buy another pair of socks for your life.
Yeah,
they have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah,
and as long as you do laundry once a week, there's your There's your socks for the rest of your life.
Yeah. There was one. I did want to mention, as we're closing out here, you've heard the story, I'm sure, of Big C when somebody would call him Hank in the shop.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
So this was a moment when I realized that I have a lot of Big C in me. Big
when we
C.
say Big C, we're talking about our grandfather.
Yeah, the
Curtis.
man
Curtis
right
was
here
his
in the
name,
back.
yeah.
Curtis, they called him Big C. He was a big guy, and he just didn't put up with no shit.
Yeah.
Well, all my life, you've probably experienced the same. I've had people say Mr. Hank.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had people do that to me.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts when people do that. And I never even thought about it until I unleashed on a Domino's employee over it, and then I was telling my parents about it. And I am a very nice guy. Like I try to be very kind to, like, especially my food preparers, but Domino's, I would order Domino's pizza.
So you should have ordered Olympic.
I know, should have. Or Harry's. Harry's is really good.
That's actually the same family
It is,
that owns
yep.
those two. Yeah.
But I would call Domino's and I'd order, and they'd say, "All right, Mr. Hank, we got you in there." And I told them, I said, "It's Hank's." I said, "It's Hank's with an S." And they're like, "Okay, got you. We'll fix that." Didn't think anything else about it. The next time we ordered pizza, I called and ordered, and they're like, "We got you, Mr. Hank." And I said, "Well, it's Hank's." And they're like, "Okay, well, we'll fix it." And like the third or fourth time, I had just finally reached my breaking point. And oh man, the Domino's employee was like, "All right, Mr. Hank," and I said, "It's Hank's." Like I actually got mad on the phone, and they were like, "Whoa!" And I said, "I have told you like 4 times." I said, "I keep telling you."
Before you went and picked your pizza up.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
dude, that's dangerous.
I
Man.
know.
That's dangerous.
But I was like, "Y'all have literally told me that you were gonna fix it." And I said, "It's Hank's with an S." They never got it wrong again, but I was telling
you
Dad.
You just had to get stern with them.
I did, and I was telling Dad and him about it, and he started laughing. And he said that one day, he said Pawpaw couldn't stand it if people would call him Hank. And he said one day a guy came in the shop and was like, "Hey," and Pawpaw was up there behind the counter, and he said, "I'm looking for Mr. Hank." And Pawpaw goes, "Well, ain't no Hank around here." Like started pumping his shoulder. He goes, "I don't know who you're looking for. Ain't no Hank around here." And like got all bowed up and pissed off. And so that dude left, and he didn't ever I don't think he ever came back. But I was like, well, I guess that's where I get it from, because I can't stand when someone says Mr. Hank. I'm like, It's not plural or possessive. It's my last name. It's Hanks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but that does happen. I've run into the same thing.
Well, Domino's damn sure never did it again to me.
I didn't make some poor teenager at Domino's cry though.
I mean, I seriously just exploded that last time. I was like, "It's Hanks!" Man, I said it with a purpose that time, and yeah, it got the point across. I might have eaten a pubic hair or something in that piece that night.
Yeah, there was
That's. Honestly, I can say that's probably the only time I've ever lashed out at somebody that's preparing my food. Like, I've gotten wrong orders, and I'm like, just gonna not say anything and eat it because I'm not.
That's why, like, I'm. My mom is the worst to go eat with, and I love my
I've seen
mother.
her send some
So like,
stuff back.
if you go to a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we're out of that tonight," she gives them a glare. Of course, as her son, I know her glares. And I'm just like, "Oh, Jesus, please, Mike, don't."
At least let us get our food first.
Or yeah, or if anything's like she'll just, and I'm just like, "Please don't." like, yeah, let's wait till we get our food, and then we'll just never come back again.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm like, hey, I'll just survive off of what you've given me. Yeah. But and that's why I gave Domino's literally 3 strikes. Like I was like, I just kept giving them attempt after attempt after attempt.
And they're like, "We'll fix that." And it was,
yeah.
Of course, again, it's some high school kid,
and I think
answering the phone, and they're just not even. They're just going on to the next.
That's
order.
what I think pissed me off the most. Every time they were like, "Oh, sorry, we'll fix that in the system." Like, thank you. I really appreciate that. Nope, they never did. Well, by God, they did the last time. Well, all right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're listening, leave us a rating and a review. We're up to I think we're almost up to 80 on Spotify. We're at 112. We've actually gained 2 since we've been doing this on Apple Podcast.
88 for the ponytails.
For the ponytails. And again, we'll have to have some really awesome giveaway as well. Because, I mean, literally, we're now going to do a giveaway to bring somebody here and hang with us and have some swag. So, but we need your input. Let us know if you'd like us to throw a few guests into the mix. I mean, I got a few that we're going to bring on because I'm wanting to talk to them anyways. But let us know if you'd like us to occasionally, not every episode, because, I mean, we enjoy doing it how we do it. But maybe once a month or something, bring in a guest and have them on the show. Reach out to us. Let us know if you would like that. And, guys, we just really appreciate you tuning in, and catch you next week.
Yeah. Good Lord willing, we'll be right here.
Yep.